Right, time for rack content. So Desperius has an opinion on BIS and why it doesn't matter to 90% of 14 players, which is a very yes and no kind of theme. But on the other hand, Desperius is known to spread a lot of very incompetent misinformation. A lot of this information and guys just end up being very awkward. So I am very curious about what he has to say now. Desperius presents 4K and everything. Let's watch.
Greetings and welcome to another video. Yes, it is true. According to some unreliable websites on the internet, only 10% of Final Fantasy players participate in its highest difficulty level, namely...
Hold on.
Greetings and welcome...
So this is again by popularity.
To another video. Yes, it is true. According to some unreliable websites on the internet...
What is this website? Is this just a Japanese blog? What is the website? Does anyone know?
Only 10% of Final Fantasy players participate in its highest difficulty level, namely Extreme Trials, Savage, and Ultimate raids. But
extreme rates. Did he say extreme rates? Savage and Ultimate, sure, I get that, but why extremes?
Even if that number is much higher, which I absolutely believe it is,
it's not. I mean, if you add extremes, then it's more than 10%. It would be roughly a good 40% of the community.
At least for Savage and Extreme Trials, equipment in Final Fantasy scales much less progressively than in World of Warcraft or Diablo or heck even single-player games.
The fact that you're mentioning scaling is kind of already off topic if we're talking specifically about high-end content. Because raiders aren't really going back and needing BIS for like previous Savage or Extreme tiers. Maybe Ultimate, but that's a very different conversation.
Which means upgrading your crafted market board weapon to the one received from Tombstones of Comedy might grant your job less of a boost than expected. The funny thing, however, this boost on the weapon specifically is actually the strongest upgrade you can have, because weapon damage and a big portion of main stats that these weapons offer are scaled.
I'm sorry, hold on. Is he defending Tombstone weapons right now? Is that what I'm following here? I'm having a
or
stroke.
Diablo or heck even single player games. Which means upgrading your crafted market board weapon to the one
upgrading your market board weapon. Why is he showing this window then?
Received from Tombstones of Comedy might grant your job less of a boost than expected. The funny thing, however, this boost on the weapon specifically is actually the strongest upgrade you can have, because weapon damage and a big portion of main stats that these weapons offer are scaling better than secondary stats do. Or at least they provide a better boost. Nonetheless,
boost base damage and healing. No. Healing is... Excuse me? Main stat... Okay, fuck it. Main stat. Higher item level gives main stat in either case, so stop stats aren't really very coherent for this conversation, but cannot be melded. Wait, hold on.
Even with these stats added over multiple item pieces, it requires the player to perform their rotation optimally to really show the difference.
Chat, am I the only one who's very confused about, like, I know I'm barely a minute into this video of being very picky, but I'm very confused. What is he defending, like, trying to prove about BIS specifically? Is he, like, trying to tell people that having upgraded crafted weapons is fine? Which it is, but it's not really a substitute for something that has higher item level to begin with.
Is actually the strongest upgrade you can have, because weapon damage and a big portion of main stats that these weapons...
The strongest upgrade that you can have is getting the raid weapon or ultimate if there's a ultimate for that tier.
Offer are scaling better than secondary stats do, or at least they provide a better boost. Nonetheless, even with these stats added over multiple...
Does cannot melded mean specifically for the weapons, or does he mean like just because the main stats aren't meldable, there's no material for the main stats? I'm guessing that's what he means, which is... I was hoping there would be like more points because there's like so much space in this picture.
Item pieces, it requires the player to perform their rotation optimally to really show the difference. I remember when I got my first purple and orange passes back in Eden's Gate Savage, I haven't even received my best in slot weapon, and
Parses don't work like that. Parses will change. If you gotten your pink or golden parses, let's say for sake of argument you clear the tier on time and not without echo, those parses will change after time. They will go lower if someone performs better than you.
I could not outperform my best parse due to missing crit and direct hit RNG, which is definitely a factor coming into the mix as well.
Yes and no. People don't just fish for crits. Those crit fishers are usually between 98 and 100 parses. Your crits don't do that much of a difference as some people might think. Like, you just playing clean and the most optimized and clean rotation with the least amount of downtime is gonna be what's gonna give you like the highest parse. Everything else, you know, the crit fishing, it's a very minuscule thing that people go for. They do go for it, mind you, but it's not that big of a deal than you think.
So to make gear differences of 10 to 20 item levels really show, you have to perform your rotation nicely and need solid crit and direct hit RNG.
Hold on, what?
Coming into the mix as well. So to make gear differences of 10 to 20 item levels
20! A gear difference of 10 or 20! 5 item levels make a huge difference. You will not RNG through 10 or 20 item levels. Do not say this. No, what are you on about?
really show, you have to perform your rotation nicely and need solid crit and direct hit RNG. Some jobs more, some jobs less, of course. And the whole topic becomes even more stale when looking at secondary stats. I mean, there are certain cases where getting gear with stats like
Hold on, was the first like almost 2 minutes was him just saying like higher item level is fine, but it's not that big of a deal if you're 10 or 20 item levels below? No. No. What do you mean? People are urging and trying to get that 5 item levels from the weapons in the last turn of the Savage tier. Let alone like people will. Let's just continue.
Tenacity, piety, or in certain cases even skill or spell speed might be counterproductive, but
Piety is a really good stat. What are you on about?
Overall, and for most situations,
like piety, you sometimes do need to balance piety, especially when in Prague. If you're specifically defending not needing BIS, then you should be defending piety, because piety is the reason you don't run out of mana while just even spamming broil. Or any of the other skills. Like, mana management aside, it's like piety is very important in very early prog.
You could easily just do your sack of.
Why? My guy. Hold on.
Gear with stats.
He shows the second point and then transitions.
Like tenacity, piety, or in certain cases even skill or spell speed might be counterproductive. But overall,
running out of
most
MP
situations, you could easily just.
And he's transitioning. MP management was good, and he's transitioning. My guy, double check your videos.
Do your sack of nuts grind, the weekly alliance raids, or just receive a full set of augmented Diadokas.
You need to also keep in mind, these augments appear much later than other people have cleared the tier. Much later. The tier came out in early June, and we got the option to get the upgrade items way later. It has been almost 5 months now since we got that, so optimization just around nuts is not a good example.
Gear, instead of taking a closer look at all the secondary values at all. I absolutely bet when I simply get all my tanking gear onto 660 item level without taking into account any secondary stat optimization, I will still deal more damage than with a good mix of Thalea pieces, augmented Diadokos, and the upgraded Credendum stuff.
Huh?
Without taking into account Diadokos gear, instead of taking a closer look at all the secondary values at all.
Okay, instead of looking at the balancing of secondary stats.
I absolutely bet when I simply get all my tanking gear onto 660 item level.
660 item level, okay.
Without taking into account any secondary stat optimization, I will still deal more damage than with a good mix of Thalea pieces, augmented Diadokos, and the upgraded Credendum stuff.
Yeah, because Thalea pieces are lower item level. What? You get less of the main stat, which was the point you made earlier. 660 versus 6, let's say even if you mix it up with augmented crafter, let's say 655 is what you're getting. Actually 653, 655, depending. Yeah, you'll do more damage because you have more main stat. Your optimization will be suboptimal. You're not going to be using burst windows too well because you're going to be getting either differentiating spells or skill speeds. That and, you know, tenacity doesn't scale as good as determination or direct hit rate. Higher item level will just kind of outperform lower item level. I'm not... What?
But
Chat, can we confirm? Talea is 650. I'm not high, right? Hold on. My healer has Talea gear. Hold on. 650, yeah. Then you're defending... Okay.
But of course, I would love to see the difference between full augmented credendum versus Savage Ascension gear plus Tombstone gear combined.
I can actually provide that example. This is someone I keep an eye on, Lapis Gino. Every time it does very weird shit, proving that you can be really good with just... This is basically the point he's trying to make, right? This person is fishing for crits and direct hit rate with just nothing but alliance rate gear, crafted gear, augmented crafted gear. This person is a Chad, mind you, right? But he always also makes... Yeah, exactly. But for that, for the fishing, he has over 2,000 something clears. This person is like one of the best paladins you will ever find. But this is what he does. He's fishing for those crits. He's fishing. This is what he does every tier. He slowly clears it, and then he starts logging. As soon as he has like the most optimal non-raid BIS set that you can have. So Hippocampus, rank 2 in the world. Rank 2, mind you. Over 2,000 clears in the tier. He just doesn't do the last fight, just to prove that he's not using the weapon. Abyssus, he skipped. Sorry. Anaptiosis, only 22. I think he's just starting, and he doesn't have the gear yet. But this is what this person does. He's just farming. He did the same thing in Shadowbringers as well, where when I would actually discover him. Promise he did nothing. I think Verse is also empty, yeah. Eden's Gate, 1,200 fucking clears. So, in a sense, Despairis, your point has merit. You can perform as much as a full actual BIS set, but the difference is that people with 99 pink parses would need to have huge amounts of clears just to fish for the direct hit rate and crits that you are mentioning here, let alone just having a perfect optimized pull. So it is possible, but you can see what 5 item levels of gear can make a difference. Just because you can get the same result, just you don't have to do it 1,000 fucking times.
But more to that in another video, because now all of this is accumulated under the first mentioned diminishing return.
Why is your speech? Hold on, diminishing return of what?
That your performance needs to be top of the line and RNG Nova needs to be on your side too. So if you're unsure which item to get, just get the one with the highest item level. And you're...
No. Don't be like that. Desparious. Please. Watch a guide. Check the balance Discord. Holy crap. Okay, let me go to... I'm on balance right now, right? Let me check any... You're saying tanks, right? Let's see. Tanks. Let's say Dark Knight resources, best in slot, Etro, or let's open this link. It's fucking dead. But there you go. So highest item level isn't always the way to go, which is honestly also one of your points, because you can see a lot of classes will have BIS, specifically 66 crafted ring upgraded, and the non-upgraded crafted, sorry, not crafted, what am I saying? Tombstone rings, right? This is not just, oh, there you go. You can see, right? And this is not just Dark Knight. Let's pull up any other class. Let's say double Tombstone ring. So highest item level is not always the way to go. This was also a thing in Shadowbringers. Some jobs, for example, Summoner, would ask for a Tombstone weapon instead of the raid tier weapon, just because how substats affect it. And it would also want the Tombstone ring and non-augmented ring. Check the history. Just saying get the highest item level is such a poor example to prove your own point.
You're good to go. If you care about in-depth optimization and want to increase your damage out,
like, at this point, what you're telling me is the point of this video is just get higher item level, you're gonna perform just fine. Unless you want to actually optimize your job, then go for substats.
could check out my secondary stats overview for each job found in the description. Or visit sources like the Balanced Discord, Sorted X.
You're even mentioning this! You're even mentioning Etro and Balanced Discord.
Whose link can also be found in the description. Of course, all of this can lead to a very stale gear upgrading curve and experience.
You're even mentioning balance and you're not checking balance for your video. Desperious. It's been such a long day for me. I'm very frustrated with just listening to this.
But on the other hand, catching up to participate in the most recent content is way easier than in any other game right now. So it has both good and bad aspects, and I guess it is personal preference if you like it that way or not. Which also means when the gear curve is already kinda flat for people dealing with optimal rotations in tough content, doing your dailies, alliance raids or stuff like that will never force you to think about gear optimization at all.
That's true, but going back to the point, like the high, if you want to optimize, it's probably like you have you have a point in this video, but you're going around like on very weird and very awkward conclusions that I'm not sure. Like, you need to do research, my friend. You really do. The content, Extreme, and the first two fights of a Savage tier, you don't need to really optimize your gear. Sure, you might want to, but you don't need to. Unless you want a very janky rotation, depending on your job. But the last two turns, and not even like the third turn, but like the fourth turn would probably ask you to optimize a bit better, because getting hitting close enrage timers on like phase transitions for door bosses is like, it's very mentally draining. Same with ultimates. It's like you gotta optimize for ultimates. There's a reason people will go back and get Eureka gear for U and Yukup. They will go through all that effort just to optimize. The 5 item levels are gonna do so much difference. 10, 20 item levels are gonna make massive difference in fights.
Because as long as there are no enrage mechanics, which we had in soft or
As long as there are no enrage mechanics.
hard form in previous normal raids and
I guess he is talking about specifically fates and I guess maps.
trials, but nowadays, as long as a healer, DPS and a tank are alive, you can do it. Sometimes even just the tank is enough.
Hold on, did he clear the Unreal? Like, Desperious, if you ever see any of my videos again, and I'm begging and pleading here, I know you need to put out content, but do some research. You even suggested the website that you can do for research, but you haven't checked them, because the conclusions to your point, like, you bring up a very good point, but your conclusions are a bit batshit fucking crazy. You're offering very weird and awkward advice here.
So no matter if you like the gearing system or not, it is very forgiving and beginner friendly. And
no.
theory crafting the last pinches of optimization for your job is only really worth doing if you're tackling Savage and Ultimate content. Which leads us to the conclusion. Get your item level as high as possible and try to learn your rotation and your job's basics as best as you can.
The issue there is, some jobs kind of rely on specifically having certain skill speeds or spell speeds. They do require that. So just, like, if you're a casual and you just do extreme raids and sometimes Unreal if you're in the mood for it, just getting the highest item level is fine, but these players are always going to be just 650, while others are going to be 660. Or by the time they get 660, everyone's just not going to care about most of the content. It's going to be like a couple months until next expansion. So Nobody's really going to be out to grind, the highest item level gear just to play their own job suboptimally. People want to improve on their own class. So it's like, I don't know. It's like if you want to include optimization of gear and melding and substats, you're kind of talking to people who would want to improve, and those people are going to be specifically looking for the correct substats so their job functions doesn't drift, so they're not messing up their own damage windows. As a summoner player, you should probably fucking know this. How easy it is to just drift your raid buff from Phoenix or Bahamut, especially Bahamut. Sorry, not Phoenix, Bahamut specifically. Yeah.
Because that is much more a significant factor than equipment.
That is a very good point. Machinist drift is literally unplayable. You really need specific stats for that job.
Except you're more behind than 50 item levels or something like that. Which the
What? 50 item levels? Where are you taking this number out? Hold on, what?
and your job's basics as best as you can. Because that is much more a significant factor than equipment. Except you're more behind than 50 item levels or something like that, which the minimal duty finder requirements are mostly taken care of anyways. For all else, stick to the videos in the description or other sources to learn more about these gearing things, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving Final Fantasy.
So it's like, there are some good points in this video, but those points are proven and concluded in such awkward and very misinformative ways. Like this, yes, getting the highest item level is probably the way to go, in an MMO. No one's really going to be thinking like, I am 630. I am happy with life. No, everyone's going to be trying to get more gear, especially the one that's very easy to get, even if it's through Glamour. But optimizing and getting the extra 5 item levels, depending on what you are doing, be it extreme weapon towards the tombstone augmented weapons, towards the raid weapons, or even going for the ultimate weapons just for that one extra melt, is like, it is the way to go for a lot of players. They need to keep in mind that their stats do play a fairly big role in their rotation. I don't know. I feel like this video is just kind of all over the place, and the point of it is like has been lost since like minute 30. Oh well, I guess it was a funny video. It is very poorly done, yeah. Even if you don't care about BIS, it's definitely worth thinking about. Because, like, what else are you going to be thinking? No one in the history of anything, like, even people who get gear casually, no one's, like, going to be like, I got some gear. I'm content. I'm happy. Definitely worth thinking about if you want speed on a particular job or not. I tend to avoid it for no other reason than changing your GCD. I guess. One of the main reasons I really love 14 is that player skill matters more than gear. Yeah, but player skill will require gear.
It's a bit of a mix. Like, you still need gear, but to get to gear, you have to be skilled. That's the difference. Like,
yeah. Plus, it's like to optimally optimize some jobs, like ninja, for example, monk or samurai. People will have to optimize their skill speed, for example. Otherwise, skill is not gonna save you from drifting and just like having the most awkward rotation. Although gear doesn't really matter for the majority of players, I think BIS or options for getting the good substats should be more accessible. I agree with this, like, or at least like more sets of gear should be available to players. While higher item level works for most jobs, if you use full augmented tombstone gear for a job like Reaper, it will make your rotation drift and not flow as well. Yeah, pretty much. The other thing is that in normal content, right, there usually isn't an array, so the stress of a time limit doesn't usually occur, I guess. So does he mean, like, does Disparis mean that high-end rating is just content that has an in-rage timer? That's why he mentioned extremes? So wait, hold on. But then that's pretty much the point, though. If he's saying, like, having high gear, high item level is fine, it is fine, unless you're going for content that has enrage. Is that like the point of this fucking video? Is that why he mentioned extremes? I'm kind of like
think so.
The only gear I spent a lot of time on was pentamelded crafter gear. good gear. The real motivation for BIS is having dyeable armor. That is also a very good point.
Yeah, that's a true beast right there.
Yes, I'm in 90% then, even though I'm always in the extreme. See, this is a casual player that's very confused. Why is extreme on that list? I've attempted Abysmal Fracture Extreme every week, Friday and Saturday, specifically when I'm able to. Best I've managed to get with random parties. 49%. Ooh. I know everything up to that point. I can't go on normal runs for it because I haven't got a single clear yet, despite months of effort at P9S and Extremes. It's okay, but I believe in you, dude. It may be 100% because it only helps you beat the hardest content faster. Competent players can still clear with sub-BIS gear.
No.
No. That's true, but for some it matters for speed kills, for fast dungeon runs. No one's optimizing stats for fast dungeons. Speed kills, yes. Very, very much. Fast dungeon runs in Criterion? What? But technically, you're right. Hold on.
Maybe he does dojo speedruns, that's why he keeps talking about dojo.
What do these people have against having fun playing your job? It's all about drip baby, swag over number. I agree. Dyeable gear is gonna be always BIS. Video topics of the basics of MMO now. Get the highest item level.
Yeah, it's kind of like in every MMO you choose if you want to go be someone. It's kind of your choice.
Well, this is a fantastic video. Salted XIV doesn't have any resources for Black Mage and Sage. Is Salted XIV still around? Salted XIV.
Didn't they have a drama about the creator?
Yeah, there was some drama. I'm pretty sure, like, the website's dead. Yeah, PRS is like the last Savage fight. The website has been dead for a while.